He's Paul Burmeister, Pro Football Talk co-host, former Iowa State Wait, is it Iowa State or Iowa?
Was that a joke? University of.
Who wrote this up?
My in-laws are going to be very happy with that, but University of Iowa.
That
Fritzy?
doesn't say Iowa on it?
Read it.
This is a setup, right?
Ooh.
It says Iowa State quarterback.
Iowa State.
I've been calling you Iowa the whole time.
This is awkward.
That should say Iowa.
But
That's
who
a
wrote this
misprint.
up? It's a misprint.
I will take the bullet on that. I don't recall putting that down there,
Why-
but I'll take the bullet on that.
Come over here and apologize to Paul in person.
I did visit Iowa State.
You did. They wanted you badly.
Jim Walden was the coach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's Walden, Walden.
Correct.
Yeah.
He replaced Jim Kreiner. And I think now I should insert that I was part of the 15 years in a row that Iowa beat Iowa State.
Hold on.
Okay.
Fritz, you'd like to.
I apologize.
That's okay.
That's
We'll get past it.
Now, this is what I want you to do, Fritzy. Hold on. This is what I need you to
We're
do.
an Iowa State
Yeah,
thong.
you got to wear the Iowa State helmet.
And you even have an Iowa State helmet. Nice.
You'll put that on and wear it.
It's so tight.
That'll look really good with your Colts jersey.
Wow. Paul with a shot there. So you were a quarterback at Iowa. Mm-hmm. Okay. How good were you?
Decent.
What's that mean?
We were 6-5. I was a starter. I was a captain. I was voted MVP. I was okay. I wasn't a great quarterback.
Who were some of the other quarterbacks that you faced?
The first game I ever played in that was like a real game, I came in that mattered. The other quarterback for the other team was Kirk Herbstreit. Now, he had Robert Smith and Orlando Pace, and I did not. And they went on to win that game. Kirk was there. Let's see, who else
Were
played?
you a better quarterback than Herbstreit?
Yes.
You were.
A little bit. Not much, but that's the same genre. I mean, Kirk and I were kind of the same kind of guy. We were program guys. We didn't start for a long time, basically had one season. Did okay during our time. Won more games than we lost. But now that it's 20, however many years later, I can look back and say, okay, I was all right, but I wasn't a great quarterback.
How does that help you with your job?
I think it's helped me in two ways. Number one, I found when I got to the NFL Network, and I was right out of local TV in Eastern Iowa. I was as green as somebody could be and just wanted to get asked back to do it the next day. I wasn't sure if I was good enough to be there. And I was hosting a show with Sterling Sharp and Solomon Wilcots, two real pros, big personalities, egos, but also very nice guys who were good to me. And I think one of the reasons they were good to me right away is because they were giving me the benefit of the doubt because I played quarterback in the Big Ten. And a couple months later, I think they were nice to me for other reasons. That they saw I was on time, I treated people well, I was okay at my job. But I think it's helped me get off to a good start with some of these people because they want to assume I can do my job okay because I was a quarterback in the Big Ten.
Tell me, what advice would you give Cardale Jones? Here's a guy who's had brief success, but brilliant success, and a huge opportunity if he decides to go pro today. What advice would you give him?
I'd say, first of all, it's almost unprecedented. I was thinking about this in the drive up because I heard you guys talking about it as it's gotten more and more steam. Hey, should he go pro? I mean, maybe Brad Johnson at Florida State. I mean, Brad sat behind Casey Weldon. I don't think he started a lot of games. He was in the program a lot longer, but he didn't have a lot of starting experience. So these NFL evaluators want to have somebody they can compare you to. There's no comparison to a kid this young who started only 3 games but played that well in those 3 games and has shown that kind of talent. So, I mean, there's nothing you can point to. Anybody who advises him can't point to somebody and say, you know, this is what happened or this is what could happen. He's kind of on his own there. I would say go back to school.
But he's not guaranteed of starting.
No, he's not guaranteed, but the 2 guys with more experience, you got to assume one of those guys isn't going to be there. Okay, so you come back and battle one of those other guys.
Yeah, so Braxton Miller doesn't come back, but
Okay.
J.T. Barrett is there.
Right.
And J.T. Barrett beat him out. Has Cardale Jones earned the starting job?
Life was different now than it was then when he got beat out. I mean, he just beat Wisconsin, Alabama, and Oregon for the national championship.
But what if he doesn't reclaim his starting job?
Then he's a backup and he's still just as talented. He doesn't get hurt and he can come out next year.
Man, you can get paid to go sit and watch in the NFL.
But you can also come out too early, get there and get a shot you're not ready for and fail.
But don't you think that guys come out, if you wait, the media, we get tired of building you up that we have to look. Now, look at Marcus Mariota.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he couldn't go back. Because then they would start to just slice and dice him. Jameis Winston couldn't go back. Johnny Manziel couldn't go back. RG3 couldn't go back. You get to a certain level where it's only downside after that. Cardale Jones hadn't been around yet, that long, but they've already built him up. If he goes back, they'll start to tear him down.
But there's no reason for the other guys to come back. They've accomplished so much and shown so much talent and had so much success winning as a team and also individually. There's no reason for those guys to come back. I mean, he's played for 5 minutes. He's only played 3
But have
games.
you seen enough? If I show those 3 games to a scout, he goes to the combine, he goes through the whole process here. Have you seen enough where you could give an accurate depiction of what kind of pro quarterback he could be?
No. I've seen enough talent to know, based off a couple throws, I've seen enough talent to know that he could make it. Somebody would invest a pretty high pick to take that risk. But I don't know how he's going to respond to adversity. What's he going to do when he throws a pick to lose a game? We've never seen that.
He seems to flatline. He doesn't.
Seems to.
Yeah, he doesn't seem. Who's a bigger risk, Jameis Winston or Cardale Jones?
How high are we taking him?
You're going to take them where you think they belong. Winston's going all the way up the top. Cardale Jones may be a 3rd or 4th round pick.
I think Jameis Winston, as the number 1 overall pick, would be a bigger risk than Jones in round 3.
What about upside?
For which guy?
Both.
If you get Jones in round 3, bigger upside there. You know what happens if you go first overall. What you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be Andrew Luck. And there just aren't that many guys out there. I would take Winston right now, or at least I would start him in this horse race to be the number 1 overall quarterback. I would start Winston a little bit ahead of Mariota.
He's Paul Burmeister, of course, played quarterback at Iowa, certainly not Iowa State, right, Fritzy?
That is correct. University of Iowa Hawkeye.
He still has it on.
Yeah, no, he has to wear it.
That's impressive.
No, he has to wear it while you're here, just out of respect that he made that mistake.
My dad played basketball a little bit at Iowa State. And I called an Iowa State bowl game about 4 or 5 years ago on the NFL Network. And someone from the Des Moines Register called and wanted to do a story about the former Iowa quarterback, and they got it right. I wasn't the Iowa State quarterback. The former Iowa quarterback calling the Cyclone game. And I was talking about members of my family who had gone to Iowa State. And I referenced my dad as a walk-on basketball player there. He was actually a scholarship player. And my dad never got wound up about anything. And I got an email right away. He's like, I had a scholarship.
Maybe you should be putting on the Iowa State helmet after making that mistake.
Exactly. On the way out, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll come back with Paul Burmeister, Pro Football Talk co-host, a former Iowa quarterback. I want to ask you about these spread offenses here. McLevin brought up all these quarterbacks that run the spread offense in college, and it doesn't translate to the pros. Why is that? We'll continue with Paul Burmeister, the NBC Sports Network co-host, with Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, Monday through Friday at 5:30 Eastern, and, of course, the former Iowa quarterback. Signal calling. Do you have to be a great athlete to be quarterback?
I think it helps. I think it helps a lot.
Is Brady a great athlete?
He is not a good foot athlete. He's not fast. I think he's a decent athlete he has worked himself more than people know. He has worked on the footwork in his delivery and the strength of his release. I think he's a decent athlete who's made himself a fantastic quarterback with his work ethic.
He wasn't at Michigan when you were at Iowa.
No, my last year at Iowa was 93 when Todd Collins was the quarterback, just after Gerback. And I think Tom's first year might have been 94, 95 as a freshman.
So he's lucky that you had already left the Big Ten.
He's lucky that he was not there when we went up there and hung up like 13 points up at the big house to lose 24-13 or something like that.
Do you have any records at Iowa? Does Chuck Long have all the records at Iowa?
Chuck Long has pretty much every record. Drew Tate a few years ago put up a lot of big numbers. Stanzi was up 2 or 3 year starter. He's probably in the top 5. But Chuck Long is the man. Chuck was the guy.
And are the visiting locker rooms still pink?
They are still pink, and they've actually changed location in Kinnick Stadium to a new one, and they still painted those pink. But that was an old Hayden Fry, Bo Schembechler story.
But the show Coach with Craig T. Nelson was based on Hayden Fry?
Yes.
But why Hayden Fry is the personality there?
Because it was either the creator or the writer of Coach went to the University of Iowa.
Okay.
That's why.
Okay. We were talking about spread offenses. We've been talking about that. McLevin was pointing out all the guys who have done the spread offense and had success in college. It doesn't translate to the pros. So here you have Marcus Mariota or Jameis Winston. If you were going to say, based on how they played in college and the system they played in, who has better chance of succeeding in the pros?
Jameis Winston.
He was in a pro style.
He was in a much more pro style offense. What he did at Florida State is much more similar to whoever drafts him It'll look more like what he did at Florida State as opposed to what Marcus Mariota did at Oregon.
Well, okay, I keep hearing this with Mariota. He's not calling plays.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Which is a problem. It's a huge problem.
11 heads look over to the sideline. There's the play. He goes to the line of scrimmage and just calls.
Right.
And he locks in on a receiver. He can't throw into small windows. He doesn't go through progressions. How much of that is real? How much is that just kind of fabricated?
I don't know about the locking into one receiver and can't throw into small windows. I don't know that. I mean, everybody's going to find that out as they really get to know him in the next few months. I do know that what you mentioned about not calling plays and looking to the sideline, that's an issue. At NFL Network, the last however many years, we would do the East-West Shrine Game and then the Senior Bowl. And we go down there and meet all these quarterbacks and meet these coaches and talk to them behind closed doors about the quarterbacks. And these coaches, a lot of them former NFL coaches, would shake their heads and be like, these guys can't even call play in the huddle because all they've done is gotten to the line of scrimmage. They don't huddle up. They look to the sideline, and everybody knows the play because of the sideline. They clap their hands and they go. So 2 problems. You can't spit out all the verbiage in the huddle, and that's a big issue when you get to an NFL minicamp. I had a real problem with that. Just getting the play out before you get up to the line of scrimmage. Number 1, these kids haven't done it. And number 2, they haven't been under center. And it's difficult, as you can see with the Danettes there in the break. It's hard to get the ball, get back 3-5 steps, get your weight going forward, make the right decision. Those basic parts of playing quarterback in the NFL, a lot of these kids haven't done in college.
But to be able to get the information, because you can read it off your wristband if you want to when you call the play in the huddle, right?
Sure.
Is all the verbiage there when you flip up your, Jameis Winston had one of those.
Sure, right. But I think in the NFL, there's not a lot of that. I mean, in the NFL, you just have to get it, and it has to come out naturally.
Okay, give me a call. Give me a call. If we're in the huddle, give me an idea of just how detailed this is going to be.
Boy, I don't remember all of them from 1995, but so Brian Billick would get in your ear and say, all right, let's explode to train right. Let's go long whiz, 365 Y stick M on a hard 2. That's a short one. That is a short call. And I always found it extra funny when he said long whiz. It was like my favorite part of minicamp. Yeah. However, that's not even the longest one. I don't really remember the longest ones, but I do remember vividly that just getting the play out of my mouth was like a real victory.
You felt that was an accomplishment,
yes.
And you hadn't gone to the line of scrimmage yet.
Right, exactly. At Iowa, we had pro right 75, Y under. I mean, that was a nice play call. And then that's multiplied by 3 or 4 at the next level. You have more responsibility at the line of scrimmage. The coverages are harder to detect, and that's before you even get the ball. And so that's why whether it's Mariota or Winston or Jones, it's a projection and a guess how everything what you've seen in college. Are they going to get to an NFL camp and be able to perform in the pocket?
But this was the knock on Cam Newton, is they would basically just...
True.
He would just get the play, and then everybody knew what the play was, and he'd just say on 2.
Mm-hmm. He is so gifted. He is so gifted physically as a runner, yes, but also as a passer. I mean, the accuracy isn't always there. We see that. He sprays it around. He can throw the ball so incredibly well. He's such a big, strong athlete that he was able to... I think make up for some of that, but those were real concerns. He just looked to the sideline, he threw to one guy, or he ran. I mean, he's one of the guys who's overcome that. He's an unbelievably gifted athlete, and that's helped him a lot.
But he is too inconsistent for me.
Correct. Yeah.
What makes Russell Wilson so brilliant?
I was listening to your stat of the day, I think it was earlier, and you talked about his third down. Right. That's not even the best part of what he does on third down. He's the number 1 rusher in the NFL on third down. So he's one of these guys who's elusive enough to create things outside the pocket, but he does so with the intention to pass, and he passes it very well on the run, but he also uses his running ability very well. And he is a gym rat with every part of the fundamental of playing quarterback and learning the offense as much as anybody. We had him at the Senior Bowl 3-4 years ago, and he's the only quarterback I've seen there in 10 years of going down there. When he wasn't in the game, when it wasn't, or in practice, when it wasn't his time, he was on the sideline going through the exact same footwork and the mechanics and throwing the ball and making the read the entire week. I mean, he's almost a nerd in how he approaches the game. And I think you combine that with his athletic ability, and that's what we have.
Would you rather have Luck's future or Wilson's future?
Luck. I think he's a level above in terms of being special and what makes you good. And we go back to what we just talked about with Winston and Mariota, and we wonder how are they going to be in the pocket? How's it going to look to them in the pocket? When he gets in the pocket and gets to the top of his drop, he sees it all, and he can deliver it with accuracy and with velocity. And I mean, it's all there a little bit more than it is with Wilson.
Would you rather look like Brady or throw like Brady?
At this point, I'd rather look like him because, I mean...
Can you throw as well as Brady can right now?
No. Not quite as well.
But close.
Closer than you think.
Could you throw it 60 right now?
I'd get you 55. Maybe 60.
Well, I can get you 50.
You could?
Yeah.
Could you throw a second one?
Might not be able to. But I had shoulder surgery, so that was before shoulder surgery. So
You get me 55?
I give you 50, not 55.
I bet you can't get it over 49.
What do you want to bet? I'll do it at the Super Bowl.
How about at NBC, you have all the suits and the nice ones there for you, and they just kind of pick them out and give them to you?
Yeah.
I want one of those.
All right, what do I get when I throw it 50 yards at the Super Bowl?
One of the ones that I bought.
No, you
It's
know
in
what
my
I get?
closet.
I get your Iowa helmet.
My Iowa helmet.
I will put it on display, and you have to sing the Iowa State fight song.
I don't know it.
You'll find out. You're going to have to learn it.
In 5 years of playing there, I don't know if I heard it.
They had no reason to play it?
No.
All right.
Yeah.
Paul, glad you came in. You're welcome to come back, and you can sit in the chair if you'd like one of these days.
I think it's going to happen on Monday.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Sources.
Oh, Paul's going to sit here?
They told you an Iowa State grad was going to do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Seneca Wallace was
Yes,
booked.
absolutely.
Sage Rosenfels is going to be there. Yeah. Alex Espinoza. Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
Yes.
You can see Paul, you're working tonight on Pro Football Talk?
No, because I'm going to Dayton.
Oh,
your
to do
old
a basketball
school.
game.
Hoops game on Saturday. Back at PFT on Monday after here.
All right. You'll see my statue outside the UD Arena.
I'm going to take some pictures and bring them back.
Yeah, it's not playing defense. It's shooting a jumper.
I like that.
Paul Burmeister of NBC Sports Network Pro Football Talk co-host, former Iowa quarterback, and we'll be sitting in the chair this Monday here on the Dan Patrick Show.